Well, Darragh, out here in La Manga, how have you found it watching the new boys gelling with the squad?
Enjoyed it, Phil. Apologies for my appearance. Been in the gym, so trying to work the pounds off from the summer excess and stuff. But been good. The training facilities are fantastic. First time actually to La Manga. We've been to Portugal and other areas of Spain, and look, you always want to say the same thing, and everyone's gelling and everyone's getting on and everyone's playing well and blah blah blah. But the truth and reality is, it's a very happy camp.
First game, obviously Saturday night. Nice to start with a win, clean sheet as well.
Yeah, it's, again, to be fair, I remember years, I used to get really emotional about pre-season games. We lose, it'd be the end of the world. We win, we're winning the Champions League. And, I remember we had a horrible pre-season the year before the Championship promotion where we stayed up that year, and it meant nothing. And Barry always says that pre-season drives you mad. So what I get out of pre-season is you see the new players in action, you see the patterns of play, you can see the formations that the gaffer and the coaching staff have been working on coming to fruition. It's a great chance to see some of the younger players. I thought Kyle Barker and Harrison Burrows did really, really well last night. I'm trying to hype them up and put pressure on them. Kyle, very good. He was playing in his natural position. Harrison, because of the squad numbers, has to play left back, so you'll see more of him in pre-season when he plays obviously wide left or wide right or whatever else. But it was enjoyable, and to watch Mo and Isa, obviously their first little outing together, that looks quite a potent partnership. And as the gaffer,
Mo Isa and Ivan Toney, not Mo and Isa, as you said there.
Well, sorry, Mo and Ivan. Yeah, you got me very early in the morning. Yes, you're right. Yes, so we need to come up with a nickname for them. No, Tomo.
Yeah, we need to probably challenge the fans to come up with something.
I mean, Tomo. No, it's not bad. But yeah, they look very good. They looked handy, and I thought young Iddy, the manager's been like raving about Iddy since he's come back, and he's 19, and we paid money for him as a 17-year-old. But we knew it was one of them would take some time, and we're hoping now with the coaching staff, because they rate him a lot and they're working on him. And we saw last night, I think they found his position. He's more of a wide player than a striker, and he's got power and pace, and he got in behind, and he was very good. So it was good to watch. The centre backs were great. The goalies, I think we've got some full backs now. No disrespect to the ones that were here before that. We've got some serious strength in many positions. But it's like everything else. You want to go through pre-season unscathed. You want to get really super fit. You want everyone to get to know each other, and then you want to start the season obviously as well as you can, and go from there.
You mentioned Kyle Barker, obviously as a central midfielder. He's obviously got a lot of ability. I guess don't want to put too much pressure on the kid as he is at this moment in time, but he's got something perhaps that we don't have at the moment.
Yes, he stood out last night, to be fair. You could almost argue out of the four that played in midfield, he was the best one. No disrespect to Woody and O'Hara and to Reedy, but what Kyle did was he affected the game in the areas that we know that's an area that we definitely need to improve in. If we're going to get up and give our best players the ball. And what he was very good at was ball retention, and his distribution was second to none. He was finding passes to Dembele, to the other winger, and moving forward. Maybe the criticism when I'd watched him in the youth team when he was younger was it was a sideways pass, it was a safe pass, it was take the ball and look that way as opposed to that way. And these are the things I guess that young players have to learn, and to be brave on the ball. A young player, it was funny, Kenny Dalglish was there last night, and I've known him for quite a while, but we were talking about the players on the pitch, and he said, the key in pre-season is that the young players can't be nervous. They have to go out and take their opportunity, because they mightn't get one again, or they might go out on loan. So pre-season's a great chance for someone to shine. I remember last year, the management team having their meeting on terrace, going, who's going to start the season. Joe Ward never was really in anyone's conversation, but he had a great pre-season and came from nowhere, and he ended up, I think, as the fans' player of the year. So pre-season is one of them where someone comes out of the pack. Years ago, it was Paul Taylor who came out of the pack. So you just don't know, and that's always the great thing, the surprises that pre-season throws up. And then watching someone like Beavers, with his authority at the back and the talking that was going on and whatever else, and he brings a real calmness and presence. And then the goalie, Pim, he was like sweeper keeper, wasn't he? Just again, so little elements you would go last year. Where did we need improvement in? Fullbacks, pace up front, Icy getting in behind, a goalkeeper who was off his line, like Linford Christie, when necessary. Just those little things that probably we missed out on getting up and getting into the playoffs and going in. So yeah, really, really good improvement, and really, really happy with the recruitment. And you try and say that every year, but you always know it's kind of like a mixed bag when you recruit. But I have to say, the recruitment, yeah, it's been really, really good this summer. Really good.
Central midfield, I think, is the only area of the pitch you're looking to strengthen.
Look, there's opportunity there. Look, O'Hara, his energy last night was phenomenal. I mean, we know he's got an engine on him. We know he's got physicality. To play in the manager's team, he's probably going to have to technically, work on his passing. Do you know what I mean? But he's got a chance. The gaffer's open-minded to everyone. He's given him a chance. And in fairness to Mark, he's trying to take it. And he probably ran more yards than anyone else last night. Woody knows he's going to have to improve. It was his first season in League One last year. Louis Reid, everyone forgets he's 21, 22. He's very young. He's like an older head on his shoulders. But it's almost like you're waiting with Louis. It's like, press the button, let's go. Because I think he plays within himself, and I think he could be a lot more aggressive, and I think he could be a lot more forward thinking, and I think if he takes himself off the hook and stops worrying about making a mistake, you're going to see a proper player. So when we signed him and did the analysis and everything else on him, the amount of forward passing, defence splitting passes, assists, all those things he had in his locker, he's got to come out of his comfort zone, because he's going to be a really competitive squad this season. And yeah, we're going to bring someone else in central midfield, that we've been working on for a long, long, long time. And then there's going to be serious competition in there. So you're going to have 4 and 2 into 4, or 4 into 2 doesn't go. So what you want is to see people up their game. And I said it the other day, I've noticed like Nacy, is looking fit, in great shape, superb in training, very good in the game last night. And that's a reflection because we've recruited Mason. So Mason, we know how good he is. So now Naismith's looking around, unlike last season, he's going, I've got serious competition here. Last year he's walked in and thought, I'm starting every game. And now he's thinking, is it 50-50? And you need that competition, right?
In terms of the players that are on the transfer list, are you frustrated they haven't gone yet, or is that just the market that is?
I'm frustrated with like Forest Green bid, a ridiculous low amount of money for Matty Stevens. Do you know what I mean? And the excuse from some clubs is, well, he hasn't played league football and he hasn't done this and he hasn't done that. And my thing back would be, well, he scored nearly 60 goals on loan in non-league, and he's young and he's a goal scorer. And when we go by those types of players, we have to pay. So offering a Peterborough United 25 grand for a player that's cost us 120 grand and he's 22 is just, and you get clubs like that try it on. There are other clubs in. We've had offers for obviously Cook and O'Hara, but again, paltry, disrespectful. If you want a player, come and get them. So we're not stressed or worried about it. There's 5 of them, I think. Buckley Ricketts, as we know, is at Carlisle on trial, and they've got a great manager there, Stephen Presley, with young players, and I think he could do quite well there. I remember what Presley did at Coventry years ago, and he had Callum Wilson of that ilk and whatever else. So he's somebody that if a manager switches his head on, they're going to have an asset. And at League 2 level, for sure, he'd be an asset. Chappie, again, we've had inquiries, but nothing concrete. So it's one of them things, like, we're not losing sleep. We had the Matty Godden thing, and which again, the bids were dismissed and whatever. And we've had inquiries from clubs, but they can't afford to buy him. But if you want 20 goals in your team in League 1, you're going to have to buy him. We're not asking for millions at the end of the day, and we're not in a rush to move Matty out of the building. And he's great competition for Ivan and Mo. So again, not losing sleep. Look, we're very ambitious this season, and we've had inquiries for Ivan, and again, dismissed without even getting into it, because we just feel that Ivan, Mo and Matty, one of those partnerships could be the difference between us again staying in League 1 and getting promoted.
Marcus Maddison at PSG at the moment, is that where he is?
Oui.
I mean, that's obviously the question everyone seems to be asking at the moment. What's your reply to it?
Everyone's losing their shit over this, and I understand. There's no saga this summer. There's no, that's the flies. This was you smell, Phil. There's no big running saga with Marcus this season. It's as simple as this. He's got a year left. He has a release clause. Everyone knows that. I'm going to try and sit with him. I haven't had a chance. We've missed each other. When I've been in England, he's been away. I went to Dubai. He came back. Marcus had an appointment for a long time that we approved. It was like a minor procedure, not in his body, somewhere else, that he had to have done, and it meant he couldn't come away, which we were fine with. We gave approval for everything, and he's back in 8 days time, back in training, and he's incredible. The gaffer saw him last week. He's in incredible shape. I don't know if people have followed him on Instagram, but he's been working out with like a conditioner, and it's the best he's come in to pre-season looking. So there is absolutely he's talking to a club, he's this, he's that. I will see him next week. We'll sit down, we'll talk about a contract. Yes, we know his agent had a call off somebody, I think it was from Hull, testing the water and whatever else. The reality is everyone knows what his release clause is. We're not selling Marcus Maddison for £600,000-700,000. So people taking the piss can give up on that nonsense. Do you know what I mean? If you want a player of his ilk and quality, you pay the piper. Otherwise, leave it alone and we'll get on with things. We're not losing sleep about Marcus Maddison leaving the football club. And we've got strength and depth in those areas, but we know how important he is to everything, and the goals, the assists, what he can provide, and the way he finished the season. If he starts the season like that, wow, and then he can write his own ticket. The other thing is with the current management staff is that all of the managers, Marcus is a 1 in 5 goal scorer. Under the gaffer and Strax and with Aaron, he's 1 in 3. I think even less if you look at the run into the season. So I think they could add 15 plus goals to his game this year, and that's going to play a big part in what we want to do. So again, it's not that I want to comment on Twitter and everyone asking the questions and the rumour mill and we're selling our best player and we didn't sign Jack Payne and we didn't sign Jorge Grant. People need to calm down. We're very happy with what we have in those areas, and if you watched the game last night, and we've got strength and depth, and Dembele is, we all know how good Dems is, and no matter what, we've got one on the other side of the pitch as well. So, and again, we got George Cooper, and he's another one like Louis Reed. Coops really has to start stepping up now, and I'm not talking about just on the pitch. He's got to live his life right. He's got to get out there and show that technically he's way above this level. He's got so much ability, and I said to him last night, you'll either be in the Premier League or on Love Island in the next couple of years. Do you know what I mean? And that's where he has to now decide what he wants to do with his career, because he's a good young man, he's a great kid, but he needs to now, he's got to eat, breathe and sleep football. And he's got to take it out on the pitch, because he can be as good as anybody, and anyone who sees him technically will agree with that, but everything else has to match up together. So no big thing about Marcus. I've had Swanee on, and in fairness to Swanee, I told him a few days ago, and I just said, let's leave it alone, because we don't need articles and headlines, and respect to Alan, he was good about that, and he was like, no, I agree. You know what I mean? There's other players to talk about, there's other stuff to talk about, so let's focus on them. And then when Marcus is back in action next week, everyone can speak to him, put a microphone in his face, and he'll be playing in the friendlies.
Without hyping Dembele up, but I think is he as, I mean, obviously Marcus has got incredible ability, but does Dems excite you in a different way because of what he can potentially get to?
I've always been a Raheem Sterling type fan. I've been a John Barnes type fan. I've loved those old style wingers, you know what I mean, who take people on and have a trick and have a dribble, and they'll beat 3 people. And Dems' problem is he'll beat 3 people and come back and want to beat the same 3 people again. And there's things to his. I honestly feel his injury at the end of the season, forget all the other crap that went on, those 7 or 8 games he missed cost us the playoffs, because you see how he frightens teams to death. When he came on as a sub against Portsmouth late in that game when we were under the cosh, you could see the effect he had on their defenders. And if you watch him in training, he is sensational. He could be anything he wants to be. He's grounded, he's a good boy, he lives life correctly, he eats and breathes football. If Aaron McLean can help him improve his finishing, because I compare him to Sterling in that way. Sterling was not a good finisher, early in his career. And then obviously Guardiola has improved his finishing like no end, where he's getting 20 goals a season now. And I'm not comparing Dems to Sterling before fans start having a go, but you understand, what I'm trying to say. If he adds this to his game, he again could be absolutely prolific. At the moment, he's a winger. You can play him behind, but you probably, when he plays higher in the Champ or the Premier League, he'll be one of them who'll probably play off a striker. Do you know what I mean? Because he's just got that ability. He can change a game. He can stretch teams. He's got it all. And the joke about, you sell Dembele, no, absolutely not, because I think he'd be the price of a new stadium. In a couple of years. He destroys championship defenders the way he destroys League One defenders, and you write your own ticket.
Everyone looks at strikers in terms of signings and obviously creative players, but could Dan Butler probably be the signing of the season?
I said it the other day to Baz, for what we paid, €0. What he's come in on, not massive. Wow, he's a machine, isn't he? 65 games a year. You're watching training, no one can get around the guy. You know what I mean? He'd frustrate the life out of me if I was a winger or an attacking player on that side of the pitch. His delivery, the one Dembele missed last night where he's delivered in, Dems has missed from 3 yards, his delivery is like, wow. So you've potentially got down that side, Dembele and Butler, and Butler will work well for Dembele. You know, as Dem starts improving the defensive side of his game, Butler's one of... We haven't had good full-backs for a long time, particularly left-backs, no disrespect. It's been an area that we've been poor in. Hughesy was good, he was Mr. Consistent, you know what I mean? And he got his move. Was he outstanding? I wouldn't say that, you know what I mean? Charlie Lee was probably the last great left-back we actually had, and when Tommy Rowe filled in, he's got the opportunity, Dan, to be anything he wants to be. And he's got a good head and the shoulders, so he's another really. And he said the other day, it's like he's always been with our club. He's settled in so seamlessly and easily and whatever else. So we did that really early, and we knew, you know, I watched him in the playoffs. He took the first penalty in the semi-final, and he was pretty much man of the match in the final. And I was sitting there like chuckling, very content that we got good full backs.
If I was looking from the outside at the squad you've built, I'd be buying a season ticket straight away. You want more people to do that, of course.
You would, you know, and we've got, what are we up? We're up, I think, 17% on last year on numbers. We're up, I think, is it 15 and a half, 16, no, more points on finances. Because people are saying, oh, is that free tickets? No, we didn't count the freebies in the season ticket numbers. So we're up and up. But we want to be up a lot more because, yeah, we're finishing 7th, our best finish in years. Recruitment being really good. Having a good manager now, all those things you would think, you know, people, let's get to the party. And the flexi ticket's done really well. I think something like, we're now down to only about 190 haven't renewed from last year, which we're still working on. We're stalking them, and, you know, we'll be in their living rooms next week to get them back on board. And then the uptick in new season ticket holders and new season ticket buyers from the schools initiative and Jason and Randy's programs, that's brilliant. The growth and that's phenomenal. You know, the finances involved and everything else. So you're working heavily on that, and you're doing a great job with the Rabbit and with Jake. We see like big legs in that, you know. I think by the time we start, we'll be up near 4.5, which would be 20% improvement on last year. So, you know, we're tracking. I said we're a team on the up. With everything happening with the club and the stadium and everything else, we're a team on the up.
And I know every chairman and owner will be excited to have a new season. Where does this excitement level rank for you? Because you look as if you're really enthused by this season more than you've been for a while.
Up there with when we had the Trinity. Up there with when we had some of the best recruitment years ago. You know, I was just down there with Barry after the gym. Not that he was in the gym, just having a coffee. And, you know, you're always excited, but it's like everything else. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I think we got real characters. I think we got talkers. I think we've got excitement. We've got flair. I think we have grit. I think we've got a lot of balance. Yeah, we're missing maybe a piece, but if the gaffer at the start tomorrow, he'd be fine, because a lot of those players got a 7th last year. So you're always looking to improve on that. You know, we've got massive aspirations and ambitions this year. You know, I'm not going to talk about winning the league and winning cups, but we really want to be up there. We want to do everything we can to give the fans a historic season. And with all the plans that are in the pipeline, you know, we need to be and want to be a championship football club. So the players know that. All this nonsense about don't put pressure on them and that's the expectation. That's why you've been signed. That's why you spend over £1 million on a striker. We want promotion. So let's not make any bones about it, and let's not hide behind it and play it all coy and go, oh, we'll be in the running. We want promotion.